Hello, I'm Julia Madison. I read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. So The Bell Jar centers around Esther Greenwood, who received a scholarship to New York to work under Miss Jacy, a famous editor for a fashion magazine. During New York, while she's there, she slowly becomes depressed, and that's evident in the following quotes. I felt very still and very empty, the way the eye of a tornado must feel, moving dully along in the middle of the surrounding hullabaloo. And which was on page 3, and then also on the silence depressed me. It wasn't the silence of silence, it was my own silence, on page 18. So while in New York, she felt kind of distant from the other girls. She did have 2 friends, Doreen and Betsy. Another quote that shows kind of how she felt separated by all the other women who were staying at the same hotel, where the Hotel the Amazon was for women only, and they were mostly girls my age with wealthy parents, and they were all going to posh secretarial schools like Katie Gibbs, where they had to wear hats and stockings and gloves to class, or they had just graduated from places like that, and were secretaries to executive and junior executives, and simply hanging around in New York waiting to get married in some career man or other, which is on page 4. So when she does finally leave New York after some experiences, she comes home and she falls into a depression. Her mom helps teach secretaries at the local college shorthand, which Esther never learned, and that kind of made her feel like her mom was a little bit disappointed in her because her mom had begged her to learn it. But so when Esther becomes depressed, she does try and commit suicide multiple times, with one time being that morning I tried to hang myself on page 158, and that's just such a deep quote. Esther goes on to many institutions after she was found having taken many pills and on the brink of death. Since she did go to many institutions, she didn't fit in at most of them. One, she was abused by electroshock therapy. So the lady who gave her the scholarship to go to New York funded her stay at a mental hospital, with her doctor being Dr. Nolan, who she viewed as a mother who did help her get better. And that's shown by Dr. Nolan put her arm around me and hugged me like a mother on page 213. And then she did go on to go sit in front of other doctors to be viewed for release, which was Dr. Nolan had said, I'll be there, and the rest of the doctors you know, and some visitors, and Dr. Vining, the head of all doctors, will ask you a few questions, and then you can go. Page 243. The societal impact is sex and suicide, in my opinion, because suicide has such a high rate amongst teens right now, and many teens right now also face having sex in college and high school to look cool, because that's what everybody else does, and that's the pop culture, and that stuff that Esther was even faced with her old boyfriend Buddy. So for my project, I did write a children's book. It is the Book of Esther. It centers around a dove named Esther who went through many of the same experiences. I just made the experiences more childlike and more something that a child could understand. An interesting fact about The Bell Jar is that it is a semi-autobiographical based off of Sylvia Plath's life. She just changed names, places, and a few events, but almost all of it was based off of Sylvia Plath. And I would highly recommend the book. It was very interesting and a very good read, and I just loved it.